Hi, criminal justice class. This is the story of Lisa Montgomery, starting with chapter 1.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Today, we're going to be talking about a girl who was born in the shadow of alcoholism. Lisa Montgomery came into this world on February 27th, 1968, in the town of Melbourne, Kansas. Her mother, Judy Shaughnessy, was an alcoholic whose selfishness and addiction changed the fate of the child she was carrying. Fetal alcohol syndrome took over Lisa's brain before she ever had a chance to breathe. Her mind was shaped by this poison, and from that first breath, Lisa was broken. Judy didn't want her, and her father's absence left Lisa alone in a world that wasn't kind to her. Chapter 2. Hell behind closed doors. Lisa's childhood should have been a time of growth, but instead it became a stage for unimaginable horror. Judy's second marriage to Jack Kleiner was the beginning of the real nightmare. Jack wasn't a father, he was a predator, and Lisa was his prey. It didn't take long for the abuse to start. First, there was beatings given to Lisa and her half-sister Deanne. Then the rapes began. Without warning, without remorse, in their own home, where no one could see, Jack would violate her again and again. His actions were not just physical. They were an assault on her soul, her identity. Lisa's torment didn't stop there. Her mother, Judy, stood by, complicit. She ignored the tears, the bruises, the terror in her daughter's eyes. Judy did nothing but turn a blind eye. She was more than a passive bystander. She became a part of the sickening world her husband created, allowing her daughter to be sold and used by the men Jack brought home, prostituting her own daughter. Chapter 3. The Room of Silent Suffering. But the horror that defined Lisa's life didn't just stay in the realm of physical abuse. Jack, in his twisted obsession with control, created a soundproof room, a place where Lisa could scream, cry, and beg for mercy, but no one would hear. The room was made to silence her, to trap her in her own misery. It was cold, dark, imprisoning. Lisa was locked inside this room, where the sounds of her torment were swallowed by the thick walls. No one heard her pleas, no one came. This room became a prison within a prison, and in the silence, Lisa's mind began to unravel. But it wasn't just isolation that broke her spirit, it was the tape recorder. The camera, the cruel need for her suffering to be immortalized. Jack didn't just want to hurt her, he wanted to document it. The tapes rolled as Jackie continued to violate her body, recording each sickening moment. Her suffering was no longer a private horror, it was a public secret. The room was more than a place of sexual abuse. Lisa would be beaten and cut in this room too. The camera caught her screams, the tapes caught her agony, and each click of the recorder hammered the final nail into her decaying innocence. Chapter 4. The Violent Birth of a New Identity. As Lisa grew older, her trauma morphed into something even darker, delusion. The abuse had become too much for her fractured mind to bear. She began to believe that she was pregnant, carrying a child that wasn't there. Her mind, so deeply damaged by the years of violence, sought escape in the fantasy of maternity. The torment she had experienced in the world of men and violence was replaced by a fake pregnancy. It became her friend, her way of reclaiming something she never had. Her body became a lie, wrapped in padded clothing, her belly stuffed to make it appear as if it was real. Ultrasound pictures, fakes were printed from the internet, a patchwork of fabrications that allowed her to pretend that she was pregnant. But the delusion didn't end there. Her sense of self was going away. Lisa wasn't just pretending to be a mother, she was searching for a child. Desperate, she began contacting women online, hoping to fill the empty void with something tangible, something real. Chapter 5. The Pursuit of the Unborn. Lisa's journey into madness led her to Skidmore, Missouri in December 2004, where a woman named Bobby Jo Stinnett was selling puppies. Bobby Jo was pregnant and innocent, full of life, and full of hope for the future. Lisa saw in Bobby Jo a reflection of everything she wanted, and everything she could never have. In her mind, Bobby Jo had something that Lisa would never get back, a child, a living, a breathing baby. Lisa's mind snapped. She drove to Bobby Joe's house under the pretense of buying puppies. But it wasn't the puppies she wanted, it was the baby. It was the child she believed was destined to fill the emptiness inside her. Chapter 6. Chapter 6, Bobby Joe's last moments. The moment Lisa entered Bobby Joe's house, her delusions took a deadly turn. The conversation was innocent at first, about puppies, about the future. Bobby Joe had no idea that the woman standing in her home, smiling softly, was about to destroy her life in the blink of an eye. Without warning, Lisa attacked Bobby Joe, strangling her with a pink rope. Lisa made sure the woman's breath was gone completely. Then, in a brutal act of violence, she sliced Bobby Joe open, cutting into her abdomen, with no care for the life she was ending. The baby, Victoria Joe, was pulled from her body, alive but bleeding, gasping for air. Chapter 7, The Denial. Lisa's escape didn't last long. The FBI, working quickly, traced the stolen baby, and within hours they tracked Lisa down. The truth about the murder and the horrific reasoning behind it was laid bare for the world to see. Lisa, a woman so deeply scarred by years of abuse and sexual violence, had believed that by taking a child she could fill the void in her life. Lisa was arrested and the baby, Victoria Joe, was safely returned to her family, though the psychological scars of that day would haunt them forever. But what remained unclear was whether Lisa was a victim herself or a predator. She had committed a monstrous act, but could she be held accountable for the madness that had overtaken her mind? Who was she really? Chapter 8, The Trial of Lisa Montgomery. Lisa Montgomery's trial in 2007 became a spectacle. Some saw a woman driven mad by years of abuse, while others saw a killer, a woman who had taken the life of an innocent woman and her unborn child. Was Lisa the product of circumstance, a victim of violence who had been broken beyond repair, or was she simply a monster hiding behind the case of insanity? Her defense argued that Lisa's actions were the result of a tragically fractured mind, shaped by decades of abuse, not just sexual abuse, but neglect that had been destroyed any semblance of rational thought. Her attorneys argued that she had been mentally ill, unable to comprehend the full weight of her crime. But in the end, Lisa Montgomery was convicted and sentenced to death. Chapter 9, The Final Struggle. Lisa's case became a national cause célèbre. The debate raged over whether she would be executed or granted clemency. Her story sparked outrage and sympathy in equal measure. Was she a victim or a monster? Was she a woman who had been destroyed by years of unspeakable torment, or was she just someone who had taken the life of another for reasons that could never be justified? Lisa Montgomery was executed in January 2021, but the question remains, could someone so broken by her past ever truly be held accountable? And in the end, was the execution of a woman who had already been destroyed by the world around her just another act of violence?